Alright, hello everyone. We're going to be watching the first Splatoon 2 World Championship, the first major Grand Finals set. We're going to be the NA... This actually happened in June 13, 2017. The game came out in July. So yes, this is before the game came out. This is a beta version. There is not all the weapons and stuff, and people had very limited experience with the game.
At this point, as we get started with our first match in the grand finals of the 2017 Splatoon 2 World Inkling Invitational.
So, with these limited map modes, with people qualifying from Splatoon 1, we have the two teams. We have Dynamute, a pickup of some of the best players in Japan. You had Autobaru, who's on Little and Calamari, Dynamon from GG Boys. And we have STDX for the US team, which includes Power, Hexen, Pengit, and Tim. Now, these teams qualified through Splatoon 1, and so I wanted to look at the set with a very limited amount of weapons. Sorry. So I want to look at the set with a very limited amount of weapons, with very little experience in the game, with very little experience on Pro Controllers, and kind of go through and see how the teams did and look at adaptability as the main theme here. And one thing you'll notice right off the bat compared to modern Splatoon 2 is there is a lot of fighting. So, yes, obviously people here are very used to Splatoon 1 meta. The other thing you'll notice is people aren't as used to the new mechanics. Is the quality actually this bad? The quality is actually this bad. Okay. I have no idea why they streamed this from a toaster. But yeah, you can see things like the Dynamo vertical flick, where people are not used to that. Which is already pretty interesting. So, you can already see that there's a bit of playing this like the first game, but people are trying to get used to the new things. The main one would be the specials, such as this Stingray, which you cannot cancel, by the way. He's not swimming because he can't. That's one of the few things I remember about beta, is you cannot swim out of Stingray in this patch. Once you pop it, you're committed to it. There's also no extended beam. But right now, most of the kits are the same. Obviously, a lot of the weapons are even pre-patch. Funny enough, the balance for this is better than it was in Splatoon 2's launch. You can see early missiles that launch so fast because it's just 4 missile. Is the We Lost the Lead in a different spot? The UI seems mostly the same, but it looks like a lot of the buttons and stuff are a little bit bigger, but that might just be a placebo. The Y, A, X, and B thing are definitely bigger than the thing on the top. Yeah, look at old Stingray without being able to move. Isn't that weird? And you can see, teams didn't really gravitate towards certain special weapons. A lot of teams tended to gravitate purely towards what they felt comfortable with. By the way, can you guys hear me? Yes, you guys can hear me. Okay. I just want to try. So, for example, we have the Dynamo player on Dynamo. There are a few changes that we saw, and funny enough, a lot of the changes in comps are actually from the Western team. We'll see Pengit do a little bit of Blaster, but he does a lot of Bucket. The main one to point out, though, is Power. His Power in this set plays Heavy, and in fact, I believe he plays it the entire time. He does not play Charger. And from what I remember, the original reason because of that is because he wasn't super used to the Pro Controller, because remember, everyone's been playing on a gamepad, and they've only had a few hours to play on this game. And so, to not worry about any of it, they opted to stick with... Oh my god. And so, to get more comfortable with it, they opted to stick with an easier-to-aim weapon being Heavy, which is why they have it there, whereas the Japanese Charger decided to stick with their Charger. It's so interesting to see this weird hybrid, like a little bit of Splatoon 1 style, but people are a bit more worried, I guess? Oh, there we go, we got splashdown cancels in the beta! I forgot that was a thing! And yeah, that's how high splashdown goes, by the way. It goes nowhere in the air. The splashdown's more unreliable to cancel, it's more on the opponent's internet connection. He can't move, by the way, he's dead. He's just dead because he get missiled, dude. If you get missiled when you're in Stingray, you just die. There's nothing you can do about it. You just die. Yeah, Stingray, it's still terribly designed in this patch, don't get me wrong, but it is horrible in this build. Not being able to swim with Ray is unbelievably bad. I don't think you can swim with 10 missiles either, actually. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure you can't swim with missiles either. I also noticed that the overlay they use is so big. They put it in the bottom right corner. You can definitely... Like, even Nintendo, with their lack of tournament experience, has definitely grown a lot from this. Like, you can see the quality is bad, the bottom right icon is way too big, etc., and even that got a lot better. But I don't think at this point anyone really noticed. I don't even remember the quality being this fluctuating. I will say one person not on their comfort weapon in Japan is Arubaru, who's playing Splattershot Pro this set. He's primarily an H3 player, but H3 is one of the weapons not in the game right now. It's not available in this little beta build thingy. Kakashi, I believe, is a slosher player. Oh, I just ran to that section. You can definitely tell there's an unfamiliarity with the controls. The gear is also another thing. Quick respawn does not work the same way as it does in Splatoon 1 in this. It looks better watching this on your phone. I bet it does. But Deadbeat got the first win, and that was very surprising at this time. Deadbeat, of course, comes on top of the set at the very end. Sorry, I'm going to spoil a set that's 5 years old. But Deadbeat comes on top of the end of this, and that was very unexpected because the Japanese team, and of course the Japanese scene is a lot higher. Was that 9 missiles? Yeah, look at that. It's missile spam. I like how Dynamon didn't even... I think if you die in raid, it didn't count it, because I'm pretty sure Dynamon raid, or was that really the charger the whole time? Yeah, a lot of special points. Yo, Cordian, thanks for the tier 1. Wait, Tower Moray is now? Isn't it at the end, too? Bro, they played Moray Tower Control twice. And it's a worse one, too. Look at the map. You can see some of the ramps and stuff are missing over here on my mouses. So yes, this is a worse version of Moray. It's still better than Splatoon 1 Moray. But oh my god, they had to play this horrible map mode twice in one set. Oh my god. Yes, I've known about the tech since before the video came out. I will have thoughts on it after a while of practicing it with range. I was also there, yes. Another thing that I remember from this time is Tim. And Tim would just be like US Tim and people cheering for him. Tim was very iconic for a very good performance. Tim stopped playing competitive Splatoon actually only a few months after this, but he's very well known for this set. I also think the Dynamo... No, Dynamo looks about the same, but I think the paint on Dynamo might be better in this patch. It's hard to tell. I think Dynamo isn't as nerfed as it was in the start of Splatoon 2, but I can't 100% confirm it. It's hard to tell with a lot of things in this build. Yeah, can we see Splashdown? I want to see... Yeah, see how low Splashdown goes. Look at that. It's so weird. Charger goes down early. Spectator... Actually, no, I just realized I was going to say auto-spec still sucks, but there's no auto-spec. Or if there's an auto-spec, there's no icon. I have no idea. Oh my god, power almost fell there. They got a lot of points right away. You can definitely tell there's an unfamiliarity with the spectator mode at least, because once again, that's a new feature. Like, this whole idea of spectator mode was brand new, like us watching this tournament for the first time. Like, spectator mode was not a thing before. We were used to watching another player stream for the whole tournament. The idea of being able to switch POVs and camera angles and stuff like this was revolutionary. Yes, there were changes between this and the release date. This is an older build. So one thing I brought up earlier is Ray is, you can't move. You can't move in Ray. Ooh, that's a nice flick. Like, that's actually really good aim. Like, again, people have been playing Pro Controller for this for only a few hours. This is a brand new game. So that kind of aim is super good. Yeah, there's no E-leader, by the way, if you're wondering where it is. Yeah. Nice hit on the splashdown, though. You can see Toxic missed as well. Another sub people were very curious about. I think miss radius is bigger in this, but I don't quite know for sure. Yeah, this long checkpoint, we're still getting down, though. We also see the charger. There is no, we don't see any unscoped charger. I'm pretty sure unscoped charger's in the game, but I think it's another case of people being used to scope chargers. So even with the idea of a charge hold mechanic, either no one wanted to figure out or they just wanted to stick with their comfortable. Because in Splatoon 1, unscoped chargers were just worse. They had less range, and the only trade-off was the lack of scope being useful in some situations. That's it. Considering how even scope and unscope are right now in this game, when they paint the same amount, just painting range is different. Scoped painted more, and it had more range. Unscope was almost non-existent, except if players had a high preference for it. Here, the splash and go off. Another thing we can see here is just how little slosher flicking there is. Now, flicking slosher to the side like that was definitely a thing in Splat 1, but it was relatively more undeveloped, even for some of the best sloshers compared to today. And that's another thing that you guys are going to notice. Like, even with the old controls, the mechanical skill compared to today is very, very low. And that's something you'll notice whenever you watch old sets. Like, the standard for high-level competitive play is much lower. And I've seen that a lot with veterans coming back to the game. Like, I know Tudos has made a post about it after playing a tournament. A player who was at the top in Splatoon 1 retired for a few years, saying that they struggled to keep up because of how far the scene progressed. So it's an important thing to say, like, as much as we can be critical of people, there's been a lot of progress in the game as the scene develops, and that's pretty cool. It also looks like the quality cleared up after the first game, so that's cool. It's still, like, not great, but it's not as bad. I think the Splashdown Blaster is actually pretty solid here. There was no Range Blaster, so obviously the Blaster players were more used to playing Luna or Range Blaster, but those just didn't exist, so everyone had to get used to regular Blaster. But yeah, this was a heartbreaking loss at the end for Deadbeat. I'm so used to calling them STDX because they got sponsored by Set to Destroy X, but nope. Oh, and another thing, do they show the KD screen? Oh, they don't show it here. The KD screen's updated at this point, I think. There was a point when Splatoon 2 had... Yeah, I think it is updated. There was a point where Splatoon 2 actually did show deaths. It was in the test fire, so editor can pull this up on screen right now. But at this point in the build, they had switched it out, so it's kills and specials at this point, which is pretty interesting. Where is the next game? Ah, yes, Turf War. Yep, this was not only ranked modes. There was Turf War in the Grand Finals. This was all modes for this event. It was Turf War to decide the seeding, as per usual with NA Championships. But rather than it going strictly to ranked modes, and even in... Nintendo's map lists aren't good, but at least they had a map list. This is none. To be fair, they couldn't really have much of a map list. They had like 8 maps when the game came out. They probably had even less ready now. And yeah, just look at the Ray. And look how afraid the bucket is of that Ray. That can't move. Like, that's just how unfamiliar and careful people started to become. We also get to see the dualies in this. The dualies are in this build. And dualies still have their less range and really laggy dodge rolls that they did when the game came out. But there was a huge... Again, unfamiliarity gap. And we mostly see it here with Japan, which is pretty interesting, because Japan is mostly stuck with their comfort picks in this set. It's mostly been the US team, mainly with Penguin and Power, that have been more willing to swap to different weapons to try to play something that's easier. But the Japanese side was much more open to both playing what they're comfortable with, but also trying out the new stuff, which I think is really interesting. Another thing you'll notice about this build of the game is some of the specials are missing. There is no ink armor, and there is no baller. So, once those two came out, everyone realized they were Bubble Kraken 2.0, but at this point, we thought those specials weren't coming back in any shape or form, or at least some people thought that. So it's a very odd point here. Yeah, here's the Ray ditto. You can see that Ray can at least strafe side to side better than he can in the live game. At least I'm pretty sure he's moving side to side faster. Or maybe it stacks with the run speed he's using on the Splatling. I actually don't know. Does Ray stack with run speed in this build? I have a lot of unanswered questions, but I don't think we'll ever really have them answered. Even the people who played at the time, I doubt they remember those specifics or even were testing for those, because I mean, at this point when they were playing the build, they were just getting ready for this match, so the ability to lab stuff was probably not at the front of their attention right now.
But here comes Dynamo starting to make a push to the middle and through the bottom part of the map as you look at the top-down version here, and Dynamon gonna start flicking some ink with that Dynamo roller. However, using some protection.
Whoa, 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 hold on. That animation was not right, right?
Look at the top-down version here, and Dynamon gonna start flicking some.
No, hold on, the next one. What the heck? Look at the back break. This reminds me of the Piranha Pit glitch where you would use a roller on the tower to snap your back in half. What the heck? Look at it. It's like breaking his back here. Whoa, you can definitely tell this animation's not finished. Interesting. I never really noticed anything unfinished at the time, and I'll stand- Wait. Oh, no, they're just covered. I thought they had the little purple tendrils at the end, but no. But yeah, you can see just... I think overall, this looks pretty close to the final build in terms of animations and stuff, but there you go. There's one of the remnants of things that was unfinished. Still in the game, with the broken spine. So yeah, there were definitely some things that didn't work here. I think this is also one of the few times we see Little Judd. Obviously, we've seen them a little bit, but yeah, they were kind of new here too still. So there you go, we got to see Little Judd. Muscle Forge Rainmaker. Honestly, out of all the map modes that we have, this is probably the one that's very, if not almost the exact same as it is on launch. Just some small differences in mid, but for the most part, I think Muscle Forge Rainmaker is one of the least changed map modes from this build, which is pretty interesting. Also, you'll notice while I'm speaking of UI changes, though this was added after the game's launch as well, you can't see the kills and special counts on the top of the Inkling's head. You don't see those numbers, so we have no idea how many kills or how many specials people have mid-game.
No, not today. 85-0 advantage right now. Looks like that Rainmaker's going to get reset right now. No, it's going to be grabbed by Dynamo as they push it to a 60.
Rainmaker is also interesting, because in Splatoon 1, Rainmaker did not reset automatically, and it had a much different firing shot. So the Rainmaker is one of the cases where you had to get used to the differences in Splatoon 2. Letting the Rainmaker reset and just the whole bomb launch firing method. And I have a feeling we'll see a lot of people fire it like the Splatoon 2 Rainmaker. Oh, he's just walking. Why is he shooting? Weird. Maybe with the new recall he thought it was slower? I have no idea at that point. They're getting even more points. God, the quality dips are so weird. But yeah, the Rainmaker resets automatically, but what you're going to see here is these teams, like, look at that. You see they grab and jump it off the map, despite the fact that it resets automatically. And that's because, yeah, again, in the first game, it didn't. So people are just used to their old habits, so automatically reset the Rainmaker, get it to mid as fast as possible, because that's what you used to have to do. It's so interesting to see. And you can see there's a lot less special coordination, despite us knowing the idea that these specials are supposed to be coordinated is the theme. They're still being used very selfishly in very individualistic plays. You can see a lot of the habits of Splatoon 1. Not that these teams have no synergy, but you can absolutely tell it's way more individualistic. Probably even worse than it was in Splatoon 1 because of how uncomfortable people are with things. So the coordinated bits that existed are still so hard to come by here. God, look at these frames. The frames, bro. Yeah, GG Ray wasn't a term, not anything. It's weird. Oh, there's a little bar there to jump across.
I have to say, there is a lot of green on this map, and Deadbeat is doing a really great job of creating lanes, creating problems for Dynamo, and it's obviously going very well for them.
Ooh, the bomb, dang. Also interesting to see the gear, the little bits we do see, but obviously it's only main exclusive, so I think people just went with whatever they probably felt comfortable with. Like an Inkrez main was still pretty common. But it definitely would probably be a bit shaken up because a lot of the meta abilities, like the previous meta abilities, were QR Stealth, which were changed, and damage defense, which do not exist. And so the gear changes were probably just a lot of comfort picks at this point. Another thing that people are unfamiliar with in this build is the ink rails. This is the first time people get used to the ink rails, because those didn't exist in the first game. I don't know if the test fires for Splatoon 2 had them, actually. I'm not sure. I don't think any of the test fire Splatoon 2 stages do. Wait, does he have all ink res? Bro, what the heck? Hexen throwing. What the heck? Oh my god. People still wear this in rank X today, by the way. Yeah, maybe fair point, bro. God, he's painting when he has Splashdown ready too. Oh my god. I know. Obviously, this is an old, I know the context. It's still funny. What does Baru have? I want to see what other gear people are running. Seeing the triple ink res makes me curious. I know Power is run speed. At least I'm almost certain he has run speed because he's playing heavy. It's like one of the things that's consistent. I think, honestly, the cameraman with Spectator is doing a pretty good job. I'm pretty sure Autospec wasn't finished at this point. But if this is Autospec, it's honestly not that bad. Bro, look, people hesitate so much with Ray. It's crazy.
One more push Dynamo here. They don't have much time left on the clock. Here comes the final push. Expect the match to come down to this right here. Trying to get the push.
Oh my god, they get chased there. But I don't think they can pop it in time. Oh wait, we got to see more gear. This is Tim's gear. Hey, there's Tim with double ink res and Subsaver. Better. Especially since Subsaver stacks better on Burst Bomb. At this time.
Able to recover and make one more.
On that map. We need to know them.
So strange. So yeah, we go back to tower control, and it's back on Moray Towers. They really went here twice in one set. Oh my god. They went to TC Moray twice, bro. How do I not remember this? I watched this live.
Yeah, this is a huge thing for anybody who's ever been splatted in Moray Towers by a charger. That's going to be a really handy change. It's Splatoon 2.
Tim once again helping out his team, hopping on the tower as Deadbeat takes the lead as they approach the very.
Wait, what they say was a handy change?
The tower's going to go ahead and reset. And as we mentioned, it's a little bit easier to get up the towers and more mobility in Moray Towers.
Yeah, this is a huge.
Oh, just that it's easier to get on the tower in Moray. Yeah, we put the tower not over water half the time. What a change. I mean, they're right. It is a good change. I'm glad they're proud of it. Ooh, nice hits from the bucket. Look at the double splashdown. Oh, the bucket's got a bomb. They got a bomb defense main. I don't even know if people realize bomb defense worked against specials. Actually, I just realized we haven't seen Inkjet, but I know Inkjet was available in the. Was there no Inkjet weapon in this build? Because Inkjet was available in the test fire. But I just realized I haven't seen any Inkjets. Maybe none of the weapons available had it? That's strange. In the test fire, it was Doolies that used to have it, but Doolies were changed. And I'm pretty sure at this point they had their Burst Bomb missile kit, but originally Dooley had Inkjet in his kit. Definitely a weird change. Nice kills from Power. I think the bomb defense main was actually probably one of the smarter things that people ran at this time, considering the double burst bomb from the splatter shots. Deadbeat constantly stuck with them. Ooh, look at the dynamo flick. That hit, but just not enough damage. Good, like, lob shot. Dynamo just played this weapon so much. Ooh, got picked there. Yeah, Testfire Dooley had the end parry kit. Yeah, I haven't seen curling either, actually. Yeah, that's weird. So some of the things in the game just weren't available in this build from the limited amount of weapons. Also, you can see people respecting the Toxic Mist a lot, which is interesting. Obviously, nowadays, people don't care as much. But it's another thing where it's like, yeah, back in the day, sure, it makes sense if you are not familiar with the ability. Know its effects are like, seem to be a bit better than Disruptor. There's another splashdown cancel. Fast missile. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't swim from missile. Wow.
That's certainly going to help right there. However, Tower's going to get paused for a moment. You've got 2:15 left. A 6-90 lead for Deadbeat. Remember, one more victory, and they are your champions of the 2017 Splatoon 2 World Inkling Invitational. 2 minutes left. Tower in the middle.
World Inkling Invitational.
Where Deadbeat realizes their folly from the previous match and looks to push.
You see, not a lot of people. Oh, rip Autobaru, bro. Oh my god. Poor guy. Oh, look at the Ray fight. And it's just over so fast. He won that Ray fight. And then he's dead, dude. Like, I felt like the best use of Ray was to use it second to kill the opposing Stingray because they couldn't move. So if you reacted second with Ray and you just locked it on to the first person, you would just get the kill. Like, they couldn't do anything. They couldn't move out of the way. So they would just die. But even then, why use Ray to counter that when you could just missile the Ray and they can't do anything either? And you could do that with the other players, too. So it's like... Oh, Ray was so bad. Still prefer it than today's Ray. I'd rather it be unusable, but... I do think Dynamon toward the second half was doing a pretty good job of trying to utilize his vertical flicks. Man, back in the day, people were so afraid that Dynamo was going to be even better, because Splatoon it was so good, and people were like, now it has a vertical flick that can paint as far as a charger, it's going to be so broken. Man, what the good old days. Do they already have the weapons finished? Not all of them. Not all the main subs and specials are available at this time. There's no Auto Bomb, there's no Ink Armor, there's no Baller, there's no H3, there's no Tri-Slosher. A lot of stuff is missing. I think I remember... I do remember this. At the very end of the set, there was someone on Deadbeat who did a very clutch play. I want to see if they still do that. Or who it was, because I don't remember. Was it Tim? No, and Tim gets splashdown canceled. That's a third splashdown cancel. Or maybe there wasn't a play. I thought there was. Or maybe this is it and I just don't remember. Oh no, they keep going. Oh, look at them struggle to touch the tower. I think Hexen... Yeah, Hexen dies. That was clutch. Dynamon with a nice 180 there. The crowd was actually pretty hype here. Man, I know this won't happen for Splatoon 3 because Deadly Virus, but... Oh, this is the play. I think he just shoots the tower. Yeah, I just shot the tower. So yeah, that was the 2017 Splatoon World Championship. So what's the lesson here from this set that we can take? What's something we can apply today for when our friendly Splatoon 3 game comes out? Because that's part of what I wanted to make this for. Is adaptability. The very first few tournaments and the very first few days of Splatoon 3 is we're going to have a really hard time figuring out what's good and what's not. The reason Deadbeat won this set is because they tried to figure out what worked for them. They stuck with what they were comfortable with. Both teams tried to do overall comfort picks, but I think Deadbeat did a really good job in adapting to how Splatoon 2 plays the most. And also with picks like the Bucket and Heavy for more ease of use with the control set was interesting. And I think, you know, when you don't know what the meta is, because in this tournament no one knows what the Splatoon 2 meta is. Maybe afterward we can start to figure it out, but no one had any idea. It was all just what people could try. So I think going with what they were more comfortable with is probably the best idea that they could do here. So, this was an interesting set. Let me know what you guys think of it. And thanks for watching. We can end the